Welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky. The show will begin momentarily.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky, episode 0xa7, the odd 7th episode, or in normal people numbers, this would be the 168th episode of Super Happy Dragon Lucky. I am Dave, and I'm filling in for Joe today. Reminder, nothing on this show is financial advice, and nothing I say is an official opinion of Dragonchain. I'm just here to give updates and talk about what's up. Stay tuned after these updates for an AMA, and let's get on to our routine opening segment, Number Go Up. So what numbers are going up this time of this week? Looks like we've got the number of days a ruling is overdue in the library case. I was thinking about this just yesterday a little bit. Now, as I understand it, you just saw a tweet from library. It is the judge's prerogative. It's their own date that they set for themselves, so they can enjoy the whooshing sound it makes as the deadline flies by all they want, I guess. But it's interesting. We're a couple weeks late, and I don't normally speculate, especially on shows and stuff, but I'm starting to speculate, because I wonder why. And I'm wondering if it's because of maybe like the Ripple case is getting pretty spicy. So I wonder if this is good for library. Does that mean that it's bad for the SEC in that case? And maybe there's something involved. I don't know. All we can do is speculate because they won't tell us. So that number's going up, and we'll see how far it goes up. Maybe it'll be going up again next week. I don't know. So that's me at Distant on Twitter. You can follow me for banter and things unrelated to most things in life, just what's in my head. But related to Dragonchain, let's get on with those updates. So we've got Super Happy Dragon Lucky lot distribution. We've got last week, the episode created 454 lot. If you didn't know, there's a new system to earn lot in that Lair. You can go read about that in the Lair. So questions and topics received 113 lot each. There was no featured post last week. There is this week. The host received 113 lot. Oh, I get lot this week. That's cool. Dragonchain receives 115 lot due to rounding because whole number NFTs, right? And then we have a Dragonchain Q3 report. I didn't get around to reading this until just this morning. I went through it. There's some cool stuff in there. Right at the top, there's an update on the case. I know a lot of people are interested in what's going on with that. We'll get our turn, I assure you. And if you read the updates, there's a message from Joe in there. Looks like the legal team is in place, and you can read more about it in the quarterly report. So go check that out. If you don't know where to find it, you can find it in Dragonchain Lair, or you can just go to dragonchain.com/blog, where you can read all of the official blogs from Dragonchain telling you about what's going on and things and stuff. There are core development updates in there, or recaps, rather. There are blogs and appearances that you can follow up on if you missed them whenever they came out. Joe was on a couple of shows. Let's see. And then Den. Den has been making an appearance in the quarterly reports, which is pretty cool. That's sort of my thing. What I'm always going on about is Den.social. And there's stuff in there about LCPs, DENDAO, WBRT, the World Blockchain Show, and Coffee with Den, which is my little Wednesday thing that I do on Wednesday mornings. So check it out. Make sure you share it. Yeah, all those things. There's info in there. There's info in every one of them. I would say go back and read the prior ones too if you haven't been following along. The quarterly reports are a good way to just get caught up on like what's been the cadence of things going on and how they've been handled and all that. There is a coupon code in there too for coffee merch, which, you know, I don't even have that hat myself, which I feel like is blasphemy. I need to go get one of those. Den.social updates. Speaking of coffee with Den, let's talk about Den updates. This morning, about an hour ago, our October 2022 LCP results came in. So we have 3 new layers, and they're good ones. I'm pretty stoked with the results this month. We do them monthly. So the number 1 in unique voters with 2 million lore committed and 59 unique voters was upcoming crypto projects. That's where you can go in and talk about upcoming crypto projects. That was proposed by MB Crypto back in January of this year. The number 5 by lore committed. So we do 2 categories. We do number 1 by unique voters, and then in the total lore committed category, we have numbers 5 and 13. So number 5 came in at 774,500-ish lore committed, and 24 unique voters. And that was Bitcoin. One of my favorite things. I am a Bitcoiner. I'm a Bitcoin most-minimalist, I like to call myself, because most things just go back to Bitcoin for me. So that's cool. I'm gonna try to have something ready to publish in there as soon as that gets created, which will be next week. That was proposed by Babar Rafiq in July of this year. And then the number 13 by lore committed with 398,000 lore and 21 unique voters was Minecraft. And everything goes as long as it's in Minecraft. So we can go in there and do all kinds of Minecraft stuff. That'll be great. I used to play Minecraft a lot back when it first came out. Haven't in a long time. Maybe this will get me back into it. I don't know what the status of it is these days. So that'll be cool. That was proposed by Wolofafle in January of 2022. So all these were proposed this year. Recently, we've gotten some that were like last year and stuff, but some of these are relatively more recent proposals, even though they're almost a year old already. So if some of the layers that you like aren't winning, they will eventually. It's got to work their way up. Maybe go get some people to go vote for them. We'll do another one next month, and we'll report back on those. Let's see. We've got, what else we got here? An open call for November 2022 LCP image. Speaking of the layer creation process, we do it every month, and then we like to pull images from the community. We've got some photographers in the community. We've got some digital artists in the community. If you want to get your image as the one that's featured for the new contest, go ahead and get that in by next Monday, and that'll get voted on, and one will get selected. Coffee with Den. This is the one that I started a while ago, and I'm doing this every Wednesday morning. It's a casual talk show, a couple of other denizens. We typically talk about things that are on Den that are posted into whatever layer gets our attention. We go off topic a lot. That's kind of the point of the show. It's just to wake up and have coffee and talk about all the things and stuff. That's open to the public for anybody to join and have a conversation with us. We usually have I Am for I Am and a couple of other denizens that pop in. And if you leave a reply to that post, I will, that'll, number one, it gives us something to talk about. So you can direct traffic there, but I'll also give you ownership. I'll give you a lot of that layer so that you can sort of mold it however you want. It lets you vote on, it's ownership of the show. You get passive income based on how well the show does, right? You get a portion of the matter payouts, which is pretty cool. So it's a DAO now. It used to be in the Den layer. Now it's over in the Coffee with Den layer. So go subscribe to that. Oh, yeah, and this is where the coupon code comes in. Back in that Q3 report we were just talking about, there's a coupon code for merch. There's Coffee with Den merch. There's a coffee cup. There's the hat you saw. Maybe a sticker or something, maybe not. But there's stuff in there, and you can get 10% off with the coupon code that is in the Q3 report. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You got to go read the report, and then you'll get it. On to DENDAO. There is a proposal in the DENDAO layer, or there's a DENDAO proposal, rather, to add search by engagement to the priorities list. If you don't know, the priorities list is sort of like a dynamic roadmap-ish kind of thing. It's an idea of where the community wants us to focus. Excuse me. Attention, and that's a list of 13 things. And then as we check one off, we backfill it so that we get, another thing in there. And this is something that was brought up by a couple of people at different times, and it would be pretty handy. I know I miss a lot of conversations that happen just because I'm either not subscribed to that particular layer, so it doesn't show up in my home feed, or maybe I'm just not paying attention sometimes. I don't know, but it would be handy to see where the conversations are happening, what posts have the most replies, the most interactions, and things like that. So go vote on that. And if it passes, it will be included in the priorities list, which is then something that's voted on for development. All right, so we have weekly meetings for DENDAO, speaking of DENDAO, on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Universal Time Code. So Iceland time, I think. Who else is UTC? I know Iceland was when I was there. So join in on those, especially, like, there's a lot of really good and or interesting and or strong opinions that I see on Den a lot. And a lot of them don't make it into the official governance routine, right? So every week there's a governance call where you can leave comments and suggestions and stuff to talk about in that. You can make it to the DENDAO governance call and either join live or, join. I know some people just join in the chat. But basically what I'm saying is get involved with that, because that's where you direct traffic. So if you have things you want to talk about that are related to governance of Den, that's where you want to do it. So see the post in the DENDAO layer for the agenda and a link to join live. That's where the link will be. All right. So, and it's a meeting, not like an entertainment show or anything. So it's just, could be boring to you, but could be very interesting too if you're interested in where we're going here. Now this week we're doing a 1 million matter. I don't know what you would call it, special event, right? I know Hyperion Frequency brought that up, and I think today even might be the day that we've mined our millionth matter, like the alliteration on that. So we'll talk more about that this week. So do definitely, like, even if you don't have something you want to chime in on with governance specifically, do join the DENDAO call to see what's going on there. So we'll do a little song and dance, maybe give something away based on on-chain data and metrics that we've seen on Den. So, all right, there's the DENDAO call update. Let's update World Blockchain Roundtable. Episode 74 is going to be this week, October 13th. And it's going to be on personalized identity on blockchain, which I think is a really cool topic. That'll be interesting because there's a lot there, right? There's a lot of Web3 stuff there. There's a lot of sovereignty stuff there. There's a lot of security stuff there. So that'll be great to have a conversation about. Go leave a question or a subject to discuss. That's how we direct the conversation in that show. Quick correction. That's October 20th. The 13th is in the past. I should have known that. So October 20th is going to be the show. The 13th was last week. That was spooky blockchain stories, which was a topic that I submitted not knowing where it was going to go, but it ended up being great. Keith was on. We talked about a lot of really important topics. Got off on a little tangent about ayahuasca for a minute, which I thought was great, but that's a good crew. And you never know who's going to pop in. The week before that, we had T Swift or Die on the Wrong Answers Only episode. I really like how that rotates topics and things like that. Speaking of topics, the World Blockchain Roundtable DAO is where you suggest themes and topics for that show. So the theme suggestions for November, for next month, are up. There's a post up for that now. So you can go pop in and say, we should talk about this or we should talk about that. And then from that list, a DAO proposal will be created. And if you've been participating in the show, which means you've been putting in questions on the episodes, or maybe you're one of the hosts that's rotated in, that's how you get lot for voting on the episodes. So we'll take all of the suggestions that come in for November, create a DAO proposal for it, and then we make a DAO vote, and then we get themes. The top 4 or 5, however many weeks are in the month, get selected, and that's how we decide what to talk about. So go do that. Go throw some topics in. I know you got some. I've got some. And if I've got some, I know you got some. I don't know where I'm going there. Watch it this Thursday, 3 p.m. UTC. That's 11 a.m. Eastern time. Yeah, and that's basically the World Blockchain Updates. Cool. So we're going to do an AMA right after this. I'll be back, and stay tuned for it. We'll see what people have been asking.
Now, more than ever, our data is at risk. Our supply chains are in jeopardy. Our systems are broken, and businesses feel powerless. Dragonchain gives you a different way, a safer way, a better way, and you have power over your data. Dragonchain gives you proof in an untrusted world. Build now at Dragonchain.com, America's blockchain.
All right, welcome back to the show. So we'll do an AMA section. Normally Joe's here for this, and some specific questions I tend to leave up to him because he's the authority on it, and I don't want to overstep my role here. And I think, for example, this first question is a really good question. I'm personally interested in it, but Joe's going to pop in and answer that one in the reply. He's probably going to say that we don't talk about other businesses and what their current events and status is. That's up to them, really. So sorry for the non-answer, but that's what I've got on that one. And check back later to see if Joe has any more to say about that. Next, we have a question from Hyperion Frequency. Let's see. By the time this airs, 998,000 Matter should have been successfully minted. The evening this episode airs, 999,000 Matter will be minted. Tomorrow evening, we will finally have our first millionth Matter minted. Yes and no. So if you may or may not remember, we used to mint on Den. We used to mine on Den and mint on Ethereum every day. It's like every day, right? But then, if you also remember, Ethereum fees they ballooned. They got crazy. So one of the things that Den was able to do was change the cadence a little bit to where we still do everything the same on Den. There's no difference for Den at all, where we mine every day on Den. But then over on the Ethereum side, it's actually minted once a week for the whole week. So it should be actually that today is technically the 1 millionth Matter day, because internally in Den it's still daily. So that'll reflect over on the Ethereum side too. If you look up the Matter token on Etherscan, you can check that out. Rest of the question, I'm getting off track. But so am I the only one excited about this? No, I am too. I think it's really cool. Something that only happens every 2 years and 9 months. Can I ask, how is the morale holding up for the internal Dragonchain and Den development team? How is everyone's mental health checking out? Are you all checking on each other and holding on to a strong sense of purpose and belonging to this great work we're all participating in? I want to give an early congratulations to Den for making it this far. Keep your spirits high, and let's keep fighting the good fight. Thanks for the sentiment there. That's awesome. Yeah, we're a pretty tight-knit team. We check in on each other and make sure that we're, watching out for each other and things like that. And yeah, we won't have another millionth Matter for another, almost 3 years. So it doesn't come around very often. It'll be cool to add another. And actually, it'll be even longer before there's there's a whole shift in the number of digits, right? So we're going from 6 to 7 figures, I guess that would be. So yeah, man, they're all just, you know, numbers and stuff, but it's cool. It's a milestone. And as I mentioned a minute ago, we are going to do something on the DENDAO call this week. So hang out for that on Thursday after World Blockchain Roundtable. Come back around for the DENDAO call that happens, you know, 2 or 3 hours after that show. So yeah, keep checking on each other. Let's see, I think any specific questions? How's the morale holding up? The morale's holding up because there's a lot being worked on with especially Dragonchain. And I'll say that that's kind of a focus right now. There's a lot of stuff to do on Den, and there's a lot of stuff that will be done on Den, but there's a lot of stuff to do on Dragonchain too. And it's it's interesting. It's a balancing act. We could definitely use more devs, but we've got plenty of stuff to focus on right now, and that's keeping things interesting and exciting. I'll be glad to see the fruition of a lot of that stuff, just like I'm sure everybody else will. Yeah, as far as mental health goes, I'm a mental health patient, so it's all over the place, but it's fine. It's actually it's a good time. I'm more personally, I can only speak for myself, but I'm more optimistic for the future of technology than I have been in a long time. I see a lot of things panning out and a lot of people starting to be interested about what I think is the correct thing to be interested about. I attribute that a little bit. I was talking about it briefly last week on World Blockchain. I think I see a lot of people who were jumping in for this sort of, tongue-in-cheek number go up, get rich quick thing where people wanted tokens to be something that they're not, or they're trying to gamble on it. That's, I think a lot of those people got hurt, which sucks. But at the same time, a lot of that noise is gone, and people are not being directed to think just about that. And I do see things. I was talking to a friend in Chicago yesterday, who is not really a crypto person, doesn't really work in the industry or obsess about it like I do. But he was saying sort of the same thing, that he was glad that people are starting to talk about what the technology can really be used for, besides just focusing on whether or not they can get in and out quick enough to make some money and go back home. Right. So I think we have staying power now, is what I'm getting at. And the people that are here to stay. And that's freaking exciting. So, all right, there's that question and my answer to it. What else we got? Jacob Wayne. When you create a business layer, this is right up my alley. You can create lot to give out to users, etc. When lot are technically NFTs, which they are, does this initiate a gas fee on Ethereum, or is it purely on Den? I'm guessing you export it to sell on OpenSea. It would initiate. Okay, I'm guessing if you export it to sell on OpenSea, it would initiate a gas fee, for example, if you wanted to sell it or turn it back into Lair. So that's a super cool question. And the answer is yes and yes and no. Because specifically with business layers, there's two different types of layers on Den. There's the LCP that we just got done talking about, where everybody votes on layers. It's community created. Nobody has to pay for it unless they want to. I should have mentioned, I'll circle back around that in a minute, but there you can actually get an LCP proposal that didn't technically win pushed through if it's top 5. I'll see if I can remember to bring that back up in a second. But my point is, with the LCP layers, those all get created, and if they win, and what happens is we create them on Den, and then there is a gas fee paid because they're also created on Ethereum, right? They exist in both locations because of Dragonchain, right? Den is a business node that sits on DragonNet, and it is using the interoperability capabilities of Dragonchain to use Ethereum 1155s, ERC 1155 NFTs on its own blockchain on DragonNet, where we can use them for free, with basically without fees and things like that, with the option of also using them on Ethereum if you want to, which is why if you were voting in the LCP, you could have either used Lair from Ethereum or you could have used Lair from inside of Den. So all that's to say that over on the business layer type of layer, which is a different category of layers that anybody can create at any time, you pay a fee to Den to create it, and you can tailor it exactly to your business needs, however you want to design it. Big difference is on the LCP side, if it wins the contest, however many NFTs are created are permanently capped. That's as many as will ever exist for that layer. On the business side, you can always create more NFTs if you have a business use for that. I know I do that for the coffee layer. I know Lisa Mighty Davis over in the Mighty layer. She does that for when people interact with her weekly shows and stuff. She'll reward top comments with actual ownership of that layer. And more to the point of the question, the business layers can choose whether or not they want to have them on Ethereum or if they just want to have them internal to Den. And there's reasons to do both things. So if the business wants to, they can create them out on Ethereum. And if not, they can have them Den only. But whenever they're created on Ethereum, of course, you have to pay an Ethereum fee for that. And if you have some that are on Den but not on Ethereum and you export them, which is currently disabled for reasons, that would be a fee also. So I hope that answers the question. The answer is up to you, especially if it's a business layer. You can model the governance however you want. It can be, it can be whatever you want. Like it's as Joe says a lot, it's just software, right? So it can be whatever you want it to be. But yeah, anytime you do anything on Ethereum, you pay an Ethereum fee. And most of the time, honestly, like Den pays it, right? Whenever you're doing like the SEC, the LCP mintings, Den's going to end up footing the bill for that contract minting. So that stuff does happen. A lot of it, the point of Den is to have that stuff happen under the hood where nobody really sees it. But absolutely, yeah, all of these transactions are on chain, and the ones that are exported or put out on or created over on Ethereum, they pay Ether fees. And is there anything else? Let's see. I'm guessing exported in. Okay, all right. So cool. That is the AMA questions. I hope I was able to do it justice. Good questions. Thank you for that. If you have more questions, especially for Den stuff, go leave me a reply in the coffee layer on my latest post, which is my show for tomorrow morning, where I'm going to just talk about stuff like I just did and ramble on for an hour or so. And it's usually at least interesting for me. So go do that. All right. Got the AMA. So this week we have featured content. And this is also from Jacob Wayne, who we just heard from with the question. And this is kind of cool. I was looking at this earlier today. Jacob Wayne has been helping us with Den for a while. Everyone on Den is helping us with Den. So he's been a denizen for a while. I even used some of his gear when I went to Iceland, his nomadic gear company. Does a lot of cool stuff with photography, aerial photography, which you'll see in this post that he made. He was going through the motions of how you do that. How do you post on Den? How do you vote in the LCP? And he spent some time with some ambient music, just using Den for an hour. And I thought that was pretty cool. And it is, it's related to Dragonchain in that everything you see him do in that video, when he puts in votes, it commits Lair, or when it takes Lair out, if you're trying to shuffle your votes around, when you were making posts, whenever he added these photos in Texas of the real estate shoot that he did, whenever he leaves a comment for somebody, all of those actions under the hood, it is, like I said, it's sitting on DragonNet. So all of those actions are a transaction on Dragonchain, which gets proven out to Bitcoin and to Ethereum. And I think right now Binance Smart Chain too. A customer wanted that, or a partner or a customer. I don't know how you categorize them. Somebody who's building on Dragonchain wanted that implemented, and so that's there now too. So I don't know, for people like me who like to know how things work under the hood, I think it's really cool to watch what Jacob Wayne was doing and just think about every time you see an action taking place, it's a transaction. It's all on chain, and it is provable all the way out to Bitcoin. Also, he does some stuff with like the sandbox. I know there's a channel that he's got over on Odyssey, which we've talked about implementing on Den as well as an option outside of just having YouTube videos. So follow Jacob Wayne, I would say. Check out the content posted over in the Dragonchain layer, where he's going through just his casual use of Den. And I don't know, think about what that means as a blockchain platform, because you might not even know that everything is on chain, which is the point, right? So let's see. Thanks again, Jacob Wayne. If anybody has, for next week, wants to get content featured, go make some, put it in the Dragonchain layer, make it related to either the Den layer or the Dragonchain layer. Of course, it has to be topical to those layers, and then one of them will end up, maybe you'll be up here with me or Joe talking about that piece of content. Let's talk about merch. I mentioned coffee merch, so that thing's going on. You can go find a promo code in the quarterly report, but there's also a hoodie sale going on right now, and you can get 10% off of hoodies until October 31st. I might do a costume this year. Maybe we should do a contest for people to show off their costumes. That would be a good idea that I just came up with. But you can get 10% off of a hoodie. Maybe your hoodie is your contest or your costume. Maybe you're a fan of the merchandise. I don't know. The coupon code is hoodies-2022. So use hoodies-2022 to get 10% off until October 31st. And in closing, watch Super Happy Dragon Lucky next Tuesday. Pretty confident Joe will be back by then. Follow Dragonchain, Real Denizens, Jojo Rowe over on, I think Twitter is the only place. I don't think Joe has an Instagram, but follow all the things, like, comment, and share so that people know what's going on, and that they can hear me tell them to go read the quarterly report and stuff like that. So that's what I've got for you. That's our update show. That's Super Happy Dragon Lucky episode A7. And I will see everyone tomorrow morning on my morning show called Coffee with Den. Go subscribe to the Lair. Thank you.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. A tactical approach is palpable if this animal is fallible, but that conclusion is laughable. So with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.